Welcome to the deep dive. You know we love to get into the nitty-gritty of things, and today's no exception. We're going to be taking a deep dive into AI.
Really looking at its impact beyond just the headlines.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because you guys sent in a ton of articles and research, so clearly you're not just interested in what AI can do, but what it should do.
Right, the implications. What does it all mean for us?
Exactly. So one thing that really jumped out at me was all this stuff about AI and customer service. Like I was reading this article about a tech company launching these super advanced chatbots, right? They're supposed to be able to hold human-like conversations and be available 24/7, which on the surface sounds kind of amazing.
Sure, in theory.
But like, can AI really replace human interaction in a field that's all about understanding customer needs and emotions? Like I'm thinking about those times when you're super frustrated.
Yeah, when you've called customer service for the 10th time about the same issue.
Exactly. Can a chatbot really grasp that kind of frustration or troubleshoot a problem that's not in its script?
It's a big question, isn't it? I mean, there's definitely potential for efficiency, no doubt, but there's also that risk of losing that human touch, that empathy that can build real trust.
And what about jobs? So many people rely on those customer service roles. What happens if companies just switch to AI en masse?
That's a valid concern, a real concern for a lot of people. It's likely that we'll see a shift in the job market. Some traditional roles might be displaced, yeah. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's also a chance that this shift could lead to new jobs, jobs focused on managing, training, refining these AI systems. Think like AI ethicists or AI interaction specialists.
There's not necessarily humans versus AI, but humans working with AI.
That's a better way to put it, yeah. It's about adaptation, evolving alongside these technologies rather than fearing them.
Okay, so we've got this complex situation with AI and customer service, but let's move on to something maybe even more ethically challenging: AI in warfare. There was this report, I think you saw it too, about an AI system for drones. It's designed to make independent lethal decisions.
Yeah, I saw that one. It's definitely raising a lot of eyebrows.
Right. It sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's happening now.
Yeah.
Can an algorithm really understand the nuances of warfare, the value of human life, the ethical considerations of engaging in armed conflict?
These are the big questions, aren't they? The potential for unintended consequences is huge. A lot of critics are saying that AI systems just don't have the judgment, the moral reasoning to navigate something as complex as war, especially when you think about things like distinguishing between combatants and civilians.
And if something goes wrong, who's accountable? The programmer, the military commander, the AI itself. It feels like we're wading into uncharted territory here, and the stakes are incredibly high.
No question. Accountability is a major, major issue that needs to be addressed head on. If there's an AI-driven error or, God forbid, a violation of international law, determining responsibility becomes almost impossible. We need clear legal and ethical frameworks in place before we go any further.
Absolutely. We can't just be playing catch-up with this technology.
Right.
All right, well, let's shift gears again. Let's talk about something a little closer to home, maybe less intense, though honestly, who knows these days? AI's impact on our finances. There was this article that really caught my eye about an AI model that actually outperformed human analysts in predicting market trends.
I think I saw that one too. It really got people talking.
Yeah, it's fascinating, but also a little unsettling. I mean, AI is clearly great at processing vast amounts of data. It can spot patterns humans might miss, but financial markets are also incredibly complex, and human behavior plays a huge role. Can AI really account for that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Emotions, speculation, even just plain irrationality. These are things that drive market swings in ways that are hard to predict. AI can analyze historical data and identify trends, sure, but what about those sudden shifts in sentiment or like black swan events?
Like a flash crash, right? Yeah.
Exactly, those unpredictable external factors. It's a limitation that even the most sophisticated AI can struggle with. And then you've got hedge funds using AI to make these lightning-fast trades, and even everyday investors are getting AI-powered recommendations now. But what happens if all these AI systems start making the same decisions based on the same data?
Like, could it create some kind of feedback loop that leads to even more instability?
It's a real possibility, something that we have to consider very carefully. I mean, the interconnectedness of the global markets means that decisions made by AI in one area can have ripple effects across the entire system.
It sounds like AI's entry into the financial world is a double-edged sword, to say the least. It has the potential to optimize things, make markets more efficient, but it also introduces a whole new set of risks and challenges. We're only just beginning to understand the implications, really.
I think that's right. There's a lot more to uncover, a lot more to discuss.
We've covered a lot of ground already, but there's so much more to delve into. Let's take a quick break and then come back for more.
We've been talking about some pretty heavy stuff, AI in warfare, finance. It's a lot to process.
It really is, and it's clear that our listeners are right there with us, thinking deeply about these issues, not just the what, but the so what. Like, what are the real-world implications of all this?
And it's not just those areas. AI is popping up everywhere, from healthcare to education, even things like entertainment. It's crazy.
Speaking of healthcare, I was reading about AI being used to analyze medical images like X-rays and MRIs. Apparently, it can spot things that even the most experienced radiologists might miss.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how good AI is getting at that kind of pattern recognition, picking up on those subtle details in medical imaging. It could really change the game when it comes to early diagnosis and treatment.
That's incredible. I mean, think about how many lives could be saved with earlier detection. But does this mean radiologists are going to be out of a job soon? Replaced by robots?
It's a good question, but I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool, and its role in healthcare should be to augment human expertise, not replace it entirely.
Okay, so it's more about collaboration than competition.
Exactly. Physicians bring so much more to the table than just reading scans. They have experience, they have empathy, they can build relationships with their patients. AI can be a powerful assistant, helping them make more informed decisions, but it can't replace the human touch, that human connection that's so important in medicine.
I've also been hearing a lot about AI being used to create those personalized treatment plans. Can you tell us more about that?
Oh, absolutely. That's one area where AI holds just immense promise. Imagine, a system that analyzes your genetic information, your medical history, your lifestyle, everything, and then uses that data to create a treatment plan that's tailored specifically to you.
That sounds like the future, like something out of a movie. But what about privacy? I mean, all that personal data being analyzed by algorithms, it's a little unnerving.
You're right to be thinking about that. Data privacy is absolutely crucial, and we need those strong security protocols, regulations in place to ensure that patients' information is being handled responsibly, ethically.
Okay, so we've got AI shaking things up in customer service, warfare, finance, now healthcare. Is there any part of our lives it won't touch?
Honestly, it's hard to think of one. I mean, look at education. AI is already being used to personalize learning experiences, give students tailored feedback, things like that. And then you've got transportation. Self-driving cars are getting closer and closer to reality, and AI is being used to optimize traffic flow, make things more efficient. And even in the arts, AI is being used to create music, write scripts, all sorts of creative stuff. It's pretty wild.
It's mind-boggling. It really does feel like we're on the verge of this massive technological revolution.
We are, and it comes with both huge opportunities and, some serious challenges. We have to approach it carefully with a balance of excitement and caution.
So how do we prepare ourselves for this AI-driven future? It's a little overwhelming to think about, honestly.
Yeah, I get that. The pace of change can be dizzying. But I think the key is to stay curious, be adaptable, and focus on developing those critical thinking skills. We need to be able to evaluate information carefully, discern fact from fiction, because the world is going to be flooded with AI-generated content.
So it's not about being afraid of the technology, but about being informed and empowered.
Exactly. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and hope it all goes away. We need to be active participants in shaping this future. The more we understand about AI, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about how it's developed, implemented, and regulated.
So knowledge is power. But how do we ensure that AI is used ethically, responsibly? It seems like there's so much potential for things to go wrong.
You're right. There are definitely risks. We have to be very careful. We need to be thinking about things like bias, transparency, accountability, and the potential impact on jobs, on human well-being.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about the values that guide its creation and use.
Absolutely. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to define its purpose, to ensure that it serves humanity, not the other way around. We need to have those tough conversations about ethics and make sure we're building in safeguards from the very beginning.
That's a lot of responsibility, honestly. It can feel a little daunting.
It is a big responsibility, no doubt, but it's also incredibly exciting. I mean, think about it. We have the chance to harness AI's potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems, to create a better future for everyone.
Okay, so we've talked about the need for knowledge, ethical guidelines, and the sense of collective responsibility. But on a more personal level, how can we as individuals navigate this AI-driven world? Like, what skills do we need to develop to thrive in this new reality?
I think adaptability is key, The world is changing so fast, the skills that are valuable today might be obsolete tomorrow. We need to be lifelong learners, constantly updating our knowledge, picking up new skills, and critical thinking that's absolutely essential. We need to be able to evaluate information, figure out what's true, what's not, and make informed decisions in a world where AI is going to be generating tons and tons of data and content.
So stay curious, stay adaptable, keep those critical thinking skills sharp.
Yeah.
What about the human element, though? How do we maintain that sense of connection and purpose in a world that's increasingly driven by technology?
That's a really important question, something we all need to be thinking about. AI can enhance our lives in so many ways, but it's important to remember that it's a tool. It's not a replacement for human connection.
It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
right? Embracing the power of AI, but also holding on to those things that make us human.
Exactly. AI should augment our human capabilities, not diminish our humanity. It's up to us to ensure that technology serves us, not the other way around.
We've really covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, haven't we? I mean, from customer service to healthcare, from warfare to finance, it's clear that AI is already changing the world around us in profound ways. And as we wrap up this part of our conversation, I'm struck by the sheer magnitude of this technological revolution and what it means for our future. Let's take a quick pause, gather our thoughts, and then dive back into this exploration of AI's impact on our world. We've been on quite a journey with this deep dive into AI, haven't we? It's everywhere we look, and it's raising all sorts of big questions.
It really is. And one thing that keeps coming up for me is this idea that AI isn't just this separate thing, this technology that's out there. It's actually deeply intertwined with us, with who we are as humans.
Yeah, like it's a reflection of us in a way, right? And that leads to some pretty big questions, like if AI is learning from us, from the data we feed it, from our behaviors, does that mean it's going to inherit all our flaws, our biases?
That's the big question, isn't it? Like, can AI evolve in a way that actually makes us better? Or is it just going to amplify the worst parts of ourselves? There's so much potential for good, right? AI can help us make more rational decisions. It can spot patterns we miss. It can even challenge those ingrained biases that we all have. But if it's trained on data that's already skewed, that reflects those existing societal prejudices, then yeah, it could make things a whole lot worse.
And that's a scary thought, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about potentially amplifying those biases on a massive scale. It's a huge responsibility to get this right.
No question. And it's not going to be easy. We need a lot of different voices at the table,
Mm-hmm.
developers, researchers, policymakers, ethicists, people from all walks of life. We have to be incredibly careful about the data we use to train these systems, making sure it's diverse, representative, and we absolutely need those strong ethical frameworks, those guidelines in place to make sure that human well-being, our values, are at the center of it all.
It feels like it's not just about the technology itself, but about the people who are creating it, the choices they make, the values they build into it.
I think that's a really important point. We're shaping AI's future right now with every decision we make, every line of code we write.
It's kind of empowering in a way, but also a little terrifying.
Yeah.
Like we have this incredible power, but do we know how to use it wisely?
It's definitely a crossroads, that's for sure. And it's not just up to the experts. It's up to all of us to be part of this conversation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are your final takeaways for our listeners, the people who've been with us on this journey, grappling with these complex issues? What do you want them to walk away with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that AI isn't just about technology. It's about society, about who we are, what we value, what kind of future we want to create. It's a call to action. Be informed, stay engaged, ask those tough questions, and don't be afraid to speak up.
And to you, the listener, we say, this conversation doesn't end here. It's just the beginning, really. What resonated with you during this deep dive? What are you still wrestling with? What actions, big or small, are you inspired to take? The future of AI is being written right now, and your voice, your choices, your actions, they matter. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shaping the world you want to see.
We talk a lot about AI learning from our mistakes, but what if it could also learn from our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations? What if we could guide its development toward those things that make us truly human? Compassion, creativity, that sense of justice, a deep care for the well-being of all. The future isn't set in stone, and we all have a role to play in making it a better one.
That's a powerful thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. And until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep shaping the future.